All right, ready for take two?
Yes.
I'm not gonna say yes or no, so just go for it.
Hit it.
Welcome to the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast, where a steampunk girl, a lifelong sci-fi fan, and a rocket scientist chat about the popular 2009 sci-fi series. There's never a dull moment with the agents dedicated to protect humankind from unexplained phenomena that manifest their powers in special objects. And there's all those friendships and relationships along the way. Grab a cookie while you can. Hope you don't smell fudge. Gear up with your Farnsworth, Tesla, and Neutralizer, and let's have some fun by snagging it, bagging it, and tagging it.
Welcome back to Artie's Attic. We're a Warehouse 13 fan cast. I'm the Warehouse 13 janitor sheltering in a safe room, I think. My name is SP.
You're never that safe.
Apparently not when Paracelsus is around.
This is my house.
And introducing Artie's Attic lead agent and historian who finally chooses to seek the hospital medical treatment she desperately needs. It's Agent Shannon.
Let's not go back there again. No
more hospitals.
We're going to skip that part.
And also returning is the warehouse agent who is tired of metaphors. It's Agent Carolyn.
Nice. Yes, stinking metaphors. Not again.
We are continuing our Warehouse 13 series discussion with the episode that premiered on Monday, July 8th, 2013, 280 days before the Season 5 premiere of Warehouse 13. I'm referring to the Warehouse 13 Season 4 20th and season finale episode, The Truth Hurts. The IMDb description reads, the evil alchemist Paracelsus is on the run, and Pete and Myka must stop him before he achieves immortality or something worse. Myka fights what appears to be a losing battle against cancer, while Steve learns Artie's been keeping a life-altering information secret from Claudia. Shannon?
That's a big one.
Was this a good season finale for you or not?
That's a big secret Artie was keeping. That's a pretty big secret. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, where are they throwing that out from? But of course, we're going to see that episode, season 5. But
we had to wait a long time before season 5. Season 5.
They always made us wait.
280 days.
Almost a year. It was hard.
July 8th to the following April 14th. Yeah.
Which we didn't even know if we were going to get either. So
we talked about that a few episodes ago. They made the announcement to renew it for a 5th and final season a couple of weeks before this aired.
Oh, okay.
So that means a couple of weeks before this aired, they were probably filming another one. The next episode that we're going to see, they were probably already filming.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know what the film dates for season 5 were.
I don't know.
Actually, they probably had a big break in between.
Yeah, you got to write the episodes. They just didn't have them. You have to storyboard them out the whole season and see what you want to do.
Well, then that means they filmed this one weeks before before we actually saw it.
Yeah.
So by the time we see this, then that means they weren't really sure when they were going to get the next one. They just knew they got it.
When I was doing the podcast, the Starling Tribune, which was a podcast on the CW show Arrow, which is the first time that I really delved into how long it takes to create one of these episodes, where you're dealing with like a network episode, like a broadcast TV episode, not a streaming episode. And this back then was considered a broadcast TV show, even though it was largely on cable, but it was largely there. And this type of episode takes about 8 days to film from front to back. Now, after that, there's some posts, especially with all the special effects that we see in these episodes of Warehouse 13 when you're dealing with the artifacts. So there's a little extra time added there, but the actual shooting is 8 days. So you got to think that this was probably filmed, I'm guessing, like a month before air, if not earlier. I actually don't know the film date for this episode, but I have to think that while they're filming this episode, they knew that they would be renewed or they actually filmed an alternative ending in case it was the series finale.
Do you know a lot of shows do that? I know Winona did that at the end of their fourth season. Yeah, at the end of the fourth season, they gave the fans the wedding that people wanted between between Waverly and the sheriff. They filmed that, but they also filmed an alternative. So I think they did that again on the third season because they weren't sure they were going to come back because sci-fi did them like sci-fi does. And tell them we're going to give you, and then, oh, by the way, we changed our mind.
It'd be interesting to see if there actually was an alternative ending and to see what they did in that alternative ending.
I would like to see it.
I did some peripheral searches. I didn't do some in-depth searches, and I didn't find anything about it. So I'm thinking that this would have been an alphas sort of situation where they did not indeed film an alternative ending. I was just throwing that out there. And that would have pissed everybody off.
Yeah, they could have written it and not done anything with it and just like locked it away.
They could have given us a fake ending for, crap, I was going to tell you something and then I forgot the name. The name, Two Boss. Come on.
Oh, Michelle.
The show.
Melissa O'Neill. The show?
The show.
Dark Matter.
Thank you. They could have given us a fake ending. That way we got something other than the stupid cliffhanger, things blowing up, and then that was the end of the season. That was the end of everything.
That was Di-Fi for you. If you follow Baron, it's Joe Malazzi on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it. He actually did post what he wanted to do for the next season. He did little scripty things. If you go to his blog, he's actually posted it on there too. So you could see what he had in mind. He had it all finished up. I think he had 5 seasons figured out. But of course, sci-fi does what they do and canceled them. So we didn't ever get to see that.
You're about to get the Two Boss and the android having a relationship.
Right.
That's been fun.
I mean, they did. It'd be nice to do it again, but they did.
I was here for it.
To my knowledge, the only place where the next and final season of Defiance was ever explained was on our podcast, Shannon, because we interviewed the producer, right?
Yeah,
right.
I think that's where it was. Yeah, I remember listening to that.
To my knowledge, even today, and it's referenced in a couple of places out there on the internet. So that is the only place where that knowledge has been kept and everything.
What was it? It was the alternative, right?
Well, it was what was going to happen the next season if they had one. Because
I remember that.
There was already a storyboard for it. Because you have to pitch it. Before it's denied, you have to pitch, okay, this is what I want to do with the next season.
It's been so long, I don't even remember the ending of Defiance.
Well, yeah. So there was a ship involved and
The purple
that's not,
I
just remember that you interviewed and
Murphy.
You got the ending. I just remember that on the podcast.
Yep. That was fun. That was not our last episode. We did a couple episodes after that, but that was the final episode about the actual show. After that, we did some wrap up of the video game and some of the places that Shannon went and saw Jamie Murray, stuff like that. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But that was fun. So there was a lot of fun sayings in this episode, weren't there, Carolyn?
Yes, there was. He's actually a smart boy when he isn't thinking about cookies and boobies.
That was really cool.
Will everybody stop treating me like I'm a child? I'm 500 years old. We'll stop treating you like a child when you stop acting like one.
That was very mature of Claudia to come back like that.
That was a very mature moment for Claudia. She's like, okay, she's the adult in the situation, even though he's 500 years old. She's like, I forgive you, by the way. That's what adults do.
Speaking of that maturity level, I like that the fact that most of the episode, Claudia wasn't ready. Don't talk to me about it. I'm not ready to switch, become the new caretaker. Mm-hmm. But then she did it without question when she thought that it would have saved Mrs. F. But then it didn't switch over to her. So all she did was sever the link that Mrs. F had.
Yeah, she knew that she could sever the link between Mrs. F and the warehouse. She wasn't trying to take it over at that point. She's like, no, I'm still not ready, but I know this will save Mrs. Frederick. So I know that we can't take it away from Paracelsus. I just called him wrong. But we know we can't take it away from him. But I know that I can take her out of the picture with the warehouse. So that's what she did.
Look at the maturity level she showed there at the end when all of them were choosing to leave and she chose to stay.
Yeah, but that was after, so there's a dichotomy. She was not very mature when Artie was telling her about her sister.
Well, I can understand her point, though. I mean, she's been lied to. He's done it before. He's lied to her before.
I don't know if you could quantify what happened as a flat out lie. Yes, withholding information.
It was admission.
Yes, but he never really lied about it, except for I got the blood from Joshua. He did lie about that. That was a lie. However, to her, it's still a lie, even though it was an omission of the truth. Because
since he's known her entire time, she's known him.
He has known it since before he knew her. So what in the world did her sister do? And where are they keeping her that he was able to get that blood so fast to save her life? And I thought it was funny. As soon as he was saying, oh yeah, he was really squeamish. And then as soon as he said that, you could tell the lie detector was like, that's not true.
And he's like, look,
we're not telling the truth, but he didn't say anything. Like Jinxies didn't say a thing. Artie just shut up. He's like, whatever, we got to get back to this.
He sent Jinx out. He said, go get the bronzer ready. So he was he was sent away from the room to prevent him from continuing the conversation. Now, we learn later that Jinx is not really mad about Artie lying. He's really concerned about Claudia's safety, which I can understand that level. And with that intent, he confronts Artie like, okay, Joshua's still at CERN. He hasn't been away from there. What are you keeping? What did you do to Claudia? Is she in danger? Is she still in danger?
Yeah.
And
that was his point. And then Mrs. Frederick's like, well, you may as well tell her. She's gonna know anyway when she takes over the warehouse. And I was like, wow. This has been known for this long? Goodness.
Was actually, so I did struggle finding a favorite scene in this whole thing, but that was my favorite scene, was when Artie finally decides, with the help of even Lena, comes back as Ghost Lena, right?
I saw that.
Jinx,
that was cute.
Lena, and Mrs. F. They all help him make the right decision, and they all know it's going to be hard, but they know that now's the time that you need to tell Claudia. And he goes and he tells her. So again, the way Claudia reacts, I understand the emotion there, but it's not very mature. It's not asking the question, because she trusts Artie implicitly right now. She's saved his life several times. And he's telling her that her sister is still alive and she's a dangerous person. I'd be like, okay, Artie, tell me a little bit more because I'm not seeing it.
But he didn't get that out until the end, that she's a dangerous person. All Claudia heard was, your sister is alive, and I've known about it since I knew before you. In her brain, it's like, holy crap, you've known about this. You know how I feel about these things, and you didn't and you just decided for my own safety. You're going to keep this information from me? That's not okay. I can see Claudia's side. Not that I think that it's okay. I mean, there needed to be more conversation in that moment, but there couldn't be because he was trying to get the point across, but she was already like really pissed off.
There's been times in the seasons where she's talked about how Josh is the only thing she has left. There's been times where she's been worried and down because he's not there, because he's going to miss things, and Myka and Pete are the only family she has. This would have been a moment. Oh no, you got a sister. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it might be an admission, but I still feel like it was a lie. I would have been pissed.
But at the end, both of them were like, "Yeah, okay, we have this problem, but you know what?
Let's go take
Either
care
one
of
of them
Mrs.
could
F.
say, "Look, I love you. Don't die." But you could see that in their moment between each other. Look, I love you, but don't die. Don't die in this warehouse.
What I like seeing was the little tears in Jinxie's eyes
Oh,
for Claudia
I know.
the entire time he's worried about her.
And
Poor
Pete,
Jinxie.
as he's headed out, he gives the Vulcan salute.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Blame it. I
catch
saw it.
the part of the scene where Claudia winked at Jinx?
Yes, that was so cute.
Yeah, that was another one of my favorite parts, was Claudia was winking at him to make him say, okay, I got this, you go.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't know how she knew, but she knew she needed to stay in the warehouse and that the warehouse would protect her. And Mrs. Frederick said the same thing. You don't know how you know, but you know.
She looked like such a badass in that leather jacket going after, facing off with Paracelsus at the end, too.
Not knowing how you know, you just know. How does Paracelsus know that part in San Francisco was where his old wood was?
I think through the same research that the warehouse did. Because he probably looked it up. He used the Google.
Been out of the bronzer for 5 minutes, and now we're already doing Google.
He already uses the Google.
Took a certain kind of wood to make it happen.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's a certain kind of petrified wood.
Permanently erect.
As a permanent fixture.
Yeah, so there was a lot of funny one-liners here, but honestly, I stretched to find a favorite part because this whole episode was like, what the heck is going on? You got the whole thing with Myka going on, which I know Shannon's like, what the hell?
Well, and it was just, okay, to me, the whole episode felt forced. Like, it felt forced. Yes. Like, it didn't flow like all the other episodes had like a flow to them and like they made sense and you got it. And it didn't feel like, okay, here, this is happening. Okay, here, this is happening. It doesn't make sense, but here, shove it down your throat because we're gonna get this episode in here. And like Pete, well, you know, he walks up on Myka. Well, did you make your appointment? She's like, well, yeah, thanks, Dad. He's like, well, I just, you know, we don't want any more surprises. And he kisses her on the head. What? A
little bit weird there, right?
That was
and then
weird.
She kissed him on the head later on outside from the warehouse.
Yeah. So the difference to me was that part from Pete kissing her on the head, and I get like telling her, don't make any more excuses, go get this taken care of. You're not busy, you're not going to, you know, you're not gonna diss this. But from his point of view, he's feeling the same vibe that he felt when his dad left the house. So this is somebody he cares about, and he doesn't want the same thing. He's going to do something about it this time. He feels the vibe, and with his dad, he didn't do anything. With Myka, he's like, no, I know there's a problem. I can feel the vibe. I'm taking care of this. I have to do something about this one. So at the end, I got that part because he's like, no, I don't want you to leave me. I've got this vibe. I feel it. This is the same thing I felt with my dad. So to me, that was more like she's like, don't worry. You know, to me, it was kind of like, don't worry, little brother. I'll be back. You know, it's okay. I'm not going to go anywhere, even though she's not really saying, I did. That was one of favorite parts, though, because that Artie comes out and he's like, hey, I need help with never mind. You guys finish whatever this is and just come back in when you're done.
Did you think he knew what was going on at that point? I think he did.
Yeah. I don't know if she's told anybody,
but I don't think he would. He has no reason to know what she's been talking about lately.
Yeah, because I think she's, even though he knows something is going on, I don't think he knows the extent to what.
Because even in the last episode, when they were down underneath with the pirate whip, right before she told Pete what was going on, when she made that big outburst, and he's like, "What's going on with her?" So he knows something is out. Mm-hmm. Something's going on.
You're talking the venerable agent Artie Nielsen of the NSA. He has been monitoring her comms. He knows. He knows that she's been talking to
That's clueless about
doctor.
Women, including Dr. Vanessa. He doesn't know how to handle Claudia, and much less how to get into the personal feelings of Myka Baring. He's going to get slapped. So, no, he just sees it from the distance. Oh, you know what? My bad. You go take care of that.
My headcanon is the dude knows. And she has not told him, so he has decided to let her handle it how she wants to handle it.
I can see that. I could see Artie doing that. Like, I'll just let you handle that. You can go ahead and do that
until you want to tell me, but I know what's going on. Yeah, that's the way I took it.
And that's the way I thought of it.
And then you got Pete. I mean, I agree. The episode felt forced, and even though it's a season finale, it still felt like one of those filler episodes where I struggle to find the best part that I like. I don't have a favorite part of the episode. There's things that it just, like, when I was rewatching it, I was up and around, walking around doing other things. I wasn't like glued to it. So
yeah,
it's a filler episode, even though it's a season ending.
Yeah, I will heartily agree. And the way it ended is so open-minded. The reason I put the 280 days in the beginning here is that this was a heck of a cliffhanger. And we had to wait almost a year to find out what happened. You got Myka laying on the bed, and we don't know what's about to happen. We know now what happened, but we didn't know what was going to happen. So is she going to die or not? Maybe that's why they have a shorter season coming up. You don't know what's going to happen with the warehouse. Is Claudia going to die? Because she's facing off with Paracelsus, who not only is the caretaker, but he is the warehouse. He has full and complete control of the warehouse, and he's immortal. Yeah. So this is a threat level that they have never faced before, and Claudia is facing off mano-a-mano with him. So what's going to happen there? And you got Pete, who, even though I understand why he did what he did, it was painful to watch that whole thing with Pete trying to save Myka desperately enough to allowing Paracelsus to escape and take control of the warehouse. Yeah. Like Artie said, how did this happen? So he doesn't know yet. Yeah. When Pete tells him, Artie's going to get pissed.
Well, and I get that Pete was lost in the moment, and he thought he was controlling the moment with, I'm going to take his immortality away, but they had to, okay, so my favorite part was when Claudia and Artie were explaining the petrified wood and where it was and the whole story behind it, because Claudia was like, can I tell it? No. And Artie starts talking about it. And then Pete saying, well, he comes up with the answer and he's like, man, I wish I could go back to science class and do better on my science classes. So that was kind of my favorite part there, where they were explaining how they're going to take Paracelsus's power of the warehouse away from him, because they're going to shoot the Tesla through the Tesla, because it's more than just a glorified iPhone. That was another good line.
They were going to shoot the Tesla through the Farnsworth, not the Tesla through the Tesla.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Tesla through the Farnsworth, because it's more than just a glorified iPhone. There's the good phrase right there.
That's all Artie had.
That's all he had.
He didn't.
That's all he had. However, Pete, he discovered the reason why they needed the petrified wood was the three things that made him immortal. And those are the three things that need to make him not immortal. And he only had 2 of them in the warehouse. And he thought that if he did it in the warehouse, that he would be not immortal anymore.
Eldorani, the proximity to the Eldorati.
Yeah, I get why he was doing it. He thought he was doing a good thing. He thought he wasn't thinking it through. He had Myka on his brain. And I highly doubt those 2 things that he said that were going to cure Myka if you make it, 100 and some odd thousand degrees. They're not going to work. He just said it was that complicated because he knew Pete would go, I have no idea how to do this. You're going to do it. So I know that he did it just to make it more complicated. And I also, the other part that I had a problem with was when he was at this, when he was making himself immortal with this petrified wood, and Sutton came out and he's like, I'm going to shoot you. And Myka shoots the Tesla at him, and he has that thing that grabs all the electricity and shoots it back at people. And then she shoots him again. Like, it didn't work the first time, hun. That thing is a freaking lightning rod, and it's going to shoot you. What? Why doesn't somebody just shoot him before he breathes that stuff? I had problems with this episode. I had a lot of problems with this episode.
I had problems with this episode too, and I understand that as an audience, we don't know what's going on with Myka, and as an audience, we don't know probably. I don't know if it's really been. You said it's been announced that they knew that they were coming back, but I don't know if as the audience knew they were coming back.
Yep.
But still, I found the cliffhanger for season 3 going into 4 way more entertaining. Like when the whole warehouse blew up.
Yeah.
I found that to be a better cliffhanger than this one.
I felt more connected to that one. Like it grabbed me and I wanted to watch it.
There was a lot more at stake.
Mm-hmm. I didn't feel as disconnected from this. I just felt disconnected from the characters. Now, our watchers may have different opinions, and please feel free to send us in emails and say what your opinion is. These are our opinions, obviously, and everyone's matters. But to me, it wasn't my favorite.
No,
it had 3 separate endings. You had the ending where Pete and Myka separate. You had the ending where they get thrown out of the warehouse, right? And then you also get the ending where Mrs. F is disconnected from the warehouse. So it's like 3 separate endings. Like, the 4th ending and probably real 3rd ending was when Sutton and Nick drove away.
Yeah. That whole storyline kind of just went, I mean, all of a sudden they're like, maybe I should call you father.
You deal with my brother. I'm out of here.
And then, I should have been a better dad. And, well, you guys should just start your new life now. Thanks. Bye.
Take your little whiny son. Take him out of the picture. Yes.
Ned. Maybe you can talk to the regents. I'm not feeling Ned. Well, that's for all those back taxes you missed.
Just so there's no confusion, Sci-Fi announced on May 16th, 2013, the 5th and final season was renewed for 6 episodes. This episode aired July 8th. So they knew between air dates about 2 months from the announcement to when this aired.
So then they had to, they'd already had this. Then they had to figure out how to end the series in 6 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, which is not a lot to go on. So
not
the
when
next
this one was
6
20.
episodes for me were, for me, I know I've talked to y'all about what I don't like about it, but that aside, for me, it's very rushed. Some of them are way, way bubble guppies that we joke about. I'm like, that, why?
Yeah.
That didn't even make sense. That didn't even make sense. It's so rushed that the storylines are compromised a little bit from it. And I understand that they were just trying to get, because if it was been renewed 2 months beforehand, maybe, did we know that we were only going to get those 6 episodes?
Yes. That was in the announcement.
So they may have rushed a lot of things in this one. So that means
about right now, right before the episode aired that we're watching, they were doing the rushed episodes already.
I don't know when they were filmed, but they knew they were coming. So they could have been filmed right away. They could have been waited 6 months for everybody to come back in the normal filming cycle. I have no idea when the filming dates were. So there's that. Another quibble I have with this episode is the fact that Vanessa wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
This was an episode where Vanessa was very much needed, and she was not there.
Yeah, the only doctor was the keeper, and they sent her away. And she isn't really a medical doctor. She's more of a psychology doctor. So they're like, no, you have to go because you're the keeper and you have like good information. So now she's just gone. Is she at the Airbnb or did she just disappear? Airbnb. She's at the B&B?
For me, as a very lifelong time Warehouse fan, the last half of season 4, I feel like it's slipping. They're grasping on some of the storylines, and I can probably see why that their ratings started slipping towards the end of 4. Which is also why we only get 6 episodes going into 5. So I can't really say they've had great episodes the last couple.
Well, so we didn't get any of the magic.
What was before the episode of the Pompeii with the lava? What was before that one?
The Pompeii lava.
Remember where the lava made the parking lot where Jinx's boyfriend came?
Oh yeah. The lava. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down now. That was, I gotta get a list of the episodes up, but yeah, it was all season 4 where he met his boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the latter half here of season 4.
That was the latter half.
12 or 13 or something like that.
I think so. I did also have a problem with, so he was, is it
Paracelsus?
Paracelsus.
Thank you. He was throwing his voice with a horn in the bottom of the basement in a morgue. What makes this even more scary? Well, he was throwing his voice and it's in a locker with a horn, right? And, you know, Pete's like, he's really frustrated at this guy. So he literally grabs an artifact without purple gloves on. You never grab an artifact without purple gloves on. But he's like frustrated that he just totally forgot and, you know, grabbed it and got electrocuted. So I have,
the Horn of Jericho.
This one.
Horn of Jericho, yeah. I have an issue with these last couple episodes, and we've already talked about it. Like, we don't have the magic of finding a new artifact and the people that go along with it. Yes, we had other people in this, but they all end up dying. The only reason we see them is so Paracelsus can harvest their lives to make him immortal. That's the only reason we see him.
Yeah.
Very horrific. We've talked about that before, how dark and everything that Warehouse 13 is. But we didn't get any of the magic, the good parts of artifacts for the last 3 or 4 episodes. It's a long time to go into isolation into one of those storylines. Even with the Warehouse 2 and with McPherson and with HG, even with those, it was only like 2 episodes at max together that they were just isolating to the warehouse itself. And this one was like at least 3 episodes, if not 4. So I do have an issue with that. And maybe that's why it lost its luster a little bit. The shiny parts that everybody loves of Warehouse 13 just wasn't available for the audience.
The last time we saw Jamie was Instinct, and I believe that was number 15.
Okay.
From then on, have you had episodes that you just loved?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have to.
As a matter of fact, you guys
go back and look.
I mean, I've rated some at like the 10 level, but it didn't crack the top 10.
There've been some good ones, I think. I think I've been attached to it. I think this one was the first one where I was like struggling to watch it. Like I struggled to watch this one because it was so disconnected from the warehouse that I've been watching. So
the parts that you love.
It literally put the warehouse in peril again. Like, oh no, the warehouse is in peril again, and it's not going to get blown up this time, but it's not itself anymore. And I'm like, again? Didn't you just do this? Like, you didn't blow it up, but you're putting it in peril again? Can we have a new one, please?
Yeah. I will list off some of the top rated season 4 episodes after episode 10. So like there was season 4 episode 5, No Pain No Gain. That was 4, right? That's an example. But after episode 10, after the mid-season finale and the mid-season premiere, season 4 episode 13, The Big Snag, was number 6, right?
That one was good. We loved that. Yeah, we did love that one because it was black and white and it was just cute. And I did. That was one that I really did enjoy.
Noir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Season 4 episode 14, The Sky's the Limit, is 8. And that is when we get introduced to Abigail Chow.
Yeah.
But that's also the one where the magicians keep flying off into the air.
Yeah, that's the magician one.
That was one of my least favorites of the season.
Well, I thought it was cute with the magician, the older magician.
Couple of episodes ago, I surprised you guys. I ranked season 4 episode 18, Lost and Found. That was the pirate episode. I ranked that a lot higher than you guys did.
Yep.
And I ranked that as 11, but you guys did not think it was that good.
I thought it was, I think that was a fun one to watch. I don't rank them in my head, but I
don't either. I can't even remember the names of them sometimes.
That was the one we podcasted with my sister on it.
So what my purpose is here is not necessarily for you guys to rank, but just to tell you guys where I ranked the last half of the episode. So we really go into, was the last half of the season worth it or not? So Instinct was the next one down the list. Season 4, episode 15, Instinct. And that was the last one with H.G. Wells. And I ranked that as 15. So again, not ranked in the top 5. Season 4, episode 11, The Living and the Dead, is ranked at number 18. That was the entire planet is in danger from the sweating sickness. And it was the culmination of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then have to scroll down. 12, Parks and Rehabilitation, was 23. Did not like that very much. So just to finish this off, and this is the last one I'll do, it was season 4, episode 17, What Matters Most. I ranked it at 41, and the IMDb description is the summary: when residents of a posh and gated community start getting affected by a mysterious versatile artifact. That was the salt mask.
Yeah, we didn't like that one either.
Down at 41. So yeah, it really missed. Normally, leading into the season finale, I tend on ranking the episodes towards the top, right? And this one just didn't happen that way with season 4.
I mean, there were still really funny parts, like when what's the dad's name?
Sutton.
Thank you, Sutton. When Sutton got shot with the electricity and he plopped, and he's like, "This mortality stuff is terrible.
Really
it's dreadful." And then she's like, "Well, yeah, you can get hurt." Touches his shoulder. Ow! It's not healing. Oh, this is really dreadful.
She just probably want to say, "Suck it up. Suck it up." Sometimes people die.
Like you're not immortal anymore. Everything hurts. You're gonna feel that in the morning. But I mean, so there were some funny parts, but most of it was just like, I struggled with this one. I have not struggled with any of them, really. I've actually, some of them were not my favorite to watch, but I would still, like, they engaged me. This one was kind of like there was so much going on with funny parts and good stuff, but like, he developed the bronzer, so he knows what to take to not be bronzed. They had that part because they had to figure out some way to not get him bronzed so that he could take over the warehouse. And that was his point all along. He wanted to be caught. He wanted to be put back in the warehouse so that he could take over the warehouse. So
we got all the reveals of the warehouse in the penultimate episode. There was nothing left for this episode.
Mm-hmm. And it just felt forced.
Yeah, if they had, I mean, Artie went into the Eldorani room and he saw the stuff disappearing, but I mean,
does he just have a key now? I mean, did the regents just say, "Here, have a key to this thing that you never knew existed"?
He took Mrs. F's key, if you didn't notice, or no, excuse me, it was Kosan's key because I was going to say,
it was Kosan. So Kosan's just like, "Hey, now that you know it's here, go ahead and go in there whenever you want."
But Kosan was not even. So he's referenced in the episode, but he wasn't in the episode.
Yes. He was referenced, but he was not in the episode.
I feel like we've lost a couple of good writers. That's why we're getting the results of maybe some of these episodes. Because a lot of them, there's loose ends. You have continuity. It's just not coming together.
One of my questions is, if they had stopped him from becoming immortal, would those people that he saved still be living? Because he wouldn't have taken their life force. So would they still be cured of cancer? Does it last forever?
I don't know.
Did he find those people only because he needed to be... Okay, so he's in San Francisco because he knows the petrified wood is there, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So does it just randomly pick that hospital because it's...
He went to multiple hospitals.
He went to multiple hospitals. That's why they knew. That's why their ping went off, because multiple things were happening at multiple hospitals that shouldn't have been happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was collecting people's energies in that bowl, and then he used their life force to make him immortal.
Yeah, which pisses you off a little bit, because not only is he feeding on people, which we talked about that last episode, but he's on people that are dying from the stuff that we really hate, breast cancer. for
like
instance.
stage 4 breast cancer, and then she's cured.
Or lung
for a day.
cancer.
It's like a yo-yo. That just hurt. And maybe that's part of it as well. The dark side is really taking over here.
He plays a very good evil character. He really did play this character very well.
Before we got Anthony Head, remember I kept oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely tip my hat to the actor.
Yeah, Anthony Head, he's been in quite a bit. We talked about him before. I will just run over it really quickly. 122 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was in the 2011 movie Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. 4 episodes of Warehouse 13. Spoiler, he's in the next one. 21 episodes of Dominion and 18 episodes of Ted Lasso. And he does not play a good character in Ted Lasso. There is no real evil characters in Ted Lasso, but he did not play a good character in Ted Lasso.
First thing I ever saw him in was Merlin.
Yeah, and he did Merlin that as well. So you guys were saying, I think Shannon, you said you think we lost some writers lost the way.
It was Well,
I know Chris Fisher's not writing any more of these.
Well, his last episode was before, and he directed. He didn't write it. So this episode was directed by Jack Kinney, who is the showrunner. And since we haven't talked about him in the directing capacity for a few episodes, he did 8 episodes of Titus, 5 episodes of Reba. Yeah, Reba. 8 episodes of Roommates, and then 7 episodes of Warehouse 13. This is his 4th episode, and he's done 3 of the season 5 episodes. So the showrunner is doing half of season 5. It was written, and this is really why I wanted to get to this, to talk to that comment. It was written by Drew Z. Greenberg, who I have talked about a lot in the past.
He's done a lot.
Yeah. 14 writing credits since 2001, including an episode of Firefly, 44 episodes of Buffy, 22 episodes of Smallville, 18 episodes of Star Wars, The Clone Wars, 1 episode of Caprica, 8 episodes of Warehouse 13. This is his last. He went on to write 6 episodes of Arrow, 13 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I podcasted on all of those episodes.
On both those,
Yeah, and then 1 episode of the new Fantasy Island. So I won't say that this was a bad episode because of Drew Z. Greenberg. It might have been an off episode for him, but he has done a lot of stuff that a lot of people that are fans of Warehouse 13 would love.
So not the
it was just
writer,
off.
But this particular episode, the last couple episodes haven't been to me.
Yeah, Chris Fisher was the
favorites.
director last time. He is one of the famed directors that we enjoy. Jack Kinney is the showrunner for this whole thing, except for the first episode, right? And he is going to direct 3 more. So I guess it's just they're rushing to the end because they need to make something happen so they have a cliffhanger into season 5 to keep people coming back for
something
season 5.
That makes sense going in.
Yeah.
I have another question. Why does the warehouse choose the previous caretakers?
We talked about that last time. I think that's a continuity thing. That's what they've chosen to do, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Because
it doesn't make any sense, especially if the warehouse is a living being. Why would it choose somebody like Paracelsus? Why wouldn't it just be like, oh no, we had this guy before?
Why would it choose the next one, like
again.
Claudia?
I'm pretty sure I don't know exactly, right? So in my head canon, when one warehouse dies, like Warehouse 2, for example, another one is created. So it's not the same warehouse. It's like a new warehouse, or it's like a Doctor Who reincarnation. So there should be no direct connection to this past caretaker.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It honestly, and plus, because they're always talking about in here that the warehouse is a living being. It's its own thing. It lets people smell apples. It chooses the next caretaker. So it's a living being. Why would this be a choice of it to go back and choose something like that? Why wouldn't it go, I tried that. It didn't work out so well for me. We're sticking with her.
Especially if it already knows that Claudia is going to be the next one. Why not jump to Claudia and say, hey, you know what? Hurry up. Come on. Take over. Don't let this crazy guy get it.
She doesn't want to, and she has to be willing to do it. Otherwise, it won't work. So she has to be willing to do it, and she doesn't want it right now, even though she stays behind to protect it and to save it from him because she feels that. But it has to be her choice to do it in the first place, to take it over. But I think
that's what we see coming up next, right? She has to want it, and then she's like, "This is mine."
Eventually, she gets it, but that's in the final episode and way off into the future. So one of the things that I noticed about the end of this episode is the warehouse refused to harm any of them. It directly protected Claudia and wanted Claudia to stay. So we get that happening because the warehouse is like, well, great, Pete. Thank you very much. But now I have to deal with Paracelsus, but I'm going to not harm any of you. I am going to do his will because he controls me right now. You guys have to leave. I'm not going to hurt you, but you guys have to leave. And then Claudia, I'm not going to hurt you. You need to help me, sort of thing. That's the feeling I get from the warehouse. It's like,
well, it also, I mean, beforehand, it had done that beforehand too when it was zapping her in the butt. That was its way of saying, hey,
pay attention to me. Pay attention to me.
That's all I'll say there.
Oh, jeez.
So that was, I think, the final scene. I didn't really care about the montage of Paracelsus walking up the aisle. I didn't care about that very much. I don't care for that level of filmography where you're doing the fade in, fade out as the person's walking forward. I get why they're doing it. They're getting Paracelsus to walk up the aisle of the warehouse so he's face to face with Claudia. I get why but you don't need to fade in and out the whole time. As
he's making a mess as he walks, knocking everything off the shelf.
I know. Clean up on aisle 4. Jeez.
Tell me about it. I'm in the safe room. I have to deal with it as soon as everything's...
Can you imagine what he's doing to the poor gooery? Because everything is off kilter. So all of that negative energy, you're going to have some serious cleanup in that gooery. I mean, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry.
Imagine the smell. It's boiling.
Maybe wave his hand to
maybe
do it.
We can get a rookie, not me, to help you with that.
Not you?
It's not it. I'm going to go help clean up the B&B or get groceries or something.
Well, see, here's where they failed because Claudia did invite Nick to the B&B and ultimately to the warehouse.
Yep.
So Nick, by definition, is the rookie here, even though he's 500 years old.
True. But he's already left with his father.
Because
Ned.
Shannon didn't like him.
I could not stand him. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand it. I think it's maybe the extra flaps in his jaws right there. I don't know. All of it. All of the above. I don't like Nick. His accent, his puffiness, his whininess. No.
All right, you two, we're going to play the game. We're going to play the game of where do you think I rank this? I was very particular and I did not tell you where I ranked this when we were discussing it before. So you have a total of 58 episodes from 1 to 58. Where do you think I rank this, Carolyn?
50.
Shannon?
58?
I was going to say that.
It was 20. I put it near
20?
some of,
20?
I put it near some of the season transition episodes. Like it's right above We All Fall Down, which was the season 4 mid-season finale. Was right below The Living and the Dead, which was the season 4 mid-season premiere. And then right above that is A New Hope. And then above that is The Greatest Gift. So it's in some of those transition roles because we do have one humdinger of a cliffhanger out of this.
That's true. I mean, this is a holy crap, now what kind of ending because, everybody's outside the warehouse except for Claudia. She's inside the warehouse and the warehouse now has its little shield up so they can't do anything to get back into the warehouse until they fix it. I don't know how they're going to help when Pete's like, I will do everything that I can to help you. But there's a protective shield now. So
in memory of the part where they're all stuck outside, it's coming up. But the part where they're all stuck outside the warehouse and no one knows. And Myka walks up. Didn't any of you read the manual? And very Myka knows how to get in. Didn't any of you read this? Give me that book.
Well, on section 2 in paragraph 4 on page 432, it says.
That's very much Myka.
I was on the elliptical when I was watching this on one of my like 3 watches through before we podcasted here. And I honestly, seriously was like, you know what? This once, I'm going to watch the next episode. But I was like, no, I'm not going to because we're doing the podcast.
I honestly, I wanted to too, but I know how it kind of ends, but I don't remember all of the episodes and what happened in the season finale, in the season premiere. So I'm kind of like, I wanted to see what happened, but I did not do it because I want to have all of this fresh in my head. So
that's kind of how I am too. Even though I've seen it, I know I very clearly remember most or parts of the last episode of the series. The in-betweens all now because it's never been my favorite. I've never gone and rewatched it on purpose.
Yeah, right. So I will recommend to you to focus on the Claudia story. Don't focus on the Myka story because it's going to piss you off. Focus on the Claudia story.
Yeah. And I think that's what I did when I watched it the first time.
Yeah.
What's that, Shannon?
At this point, Claudia's the only big thing we have left that's going to happen.
Well, I would argue that the other thing that you're pissed about is a big thing too, but
it's a big thing.
Yeah.
But I know she's in the last one, so it's a waste of a storyline for her. Why you got to do that to her? She don't need it. She gets better.
Yeah, I mean, I see why they put it in the storyline now, so that Pete is desperate, and then he futzes up big time and gives him access to the complete and total warehouse.
If he's going to be desperate over anybody, it'd be Myka, right? It'd be Myka. If he's going to do this for anybody and break the rules for anybody, it'd be Myka.
I'd break the rules for Claudia. I would.
I
just
think
as much as
too.
I would for all of them. I would for Claudia. So you can't just say Myka's the only one.
I think, though, because of the way he feels about Myka, yes, Pete probably would do it for any of them, but Myka the most. He would do it for Myka the most.
Yeah, it's fair.
She's the biggest driver in it.
But who does it and smells apples? Who destroys things and for the sake of Myka smells apples? My girl.
Do you guys get anything else in this episode?
Nope.
All right.
No.
All right, so we do have some very important business.
No food. Sorry, no food.
Aside from that, we do have some very important business to discuss. We have some feedback.
We do. We got a lot.
Our first feedback, which came in literally hours after we recorded last time, was from Jody. And Jody says, "Hello, SP and Shannon." Notice no
me.
No Carolyn.
Thanks, Jody.
Hello, SP and Shannon. I'm loving the podcast. I do have a request, though. Carolyn keeps coming up with excuses. Her long list of shows to watch. To not watch Orphan Black. I have known Carolyn for a long time, and I've tried to get her to watch it. I mean, it is one of the greatest sci-fi shows made. But haven't been able to convince her yet. Listening to your podcast today, it hit me. I think you should revoke her title of longtime sci-fi fan until she does. Maybe, just maybe, she will, and then she will understand why we keep telling her to watch it. Jody.
You're funny, Jody.
So I say we take Jody's advice and we revoke your title.
No. Well,
at least
we're going to revoke
episode.
Yours until you watch The Expanse.
I agree.
I have time this weekend. Are you going to watch it? I'll go to episode 2. Are you going to go episode 2?
Oh my God. I am. You know what? I will as soon as I can. Spring season at my work is so hard to watch anything. Okay.
Well,
excuses.
I'm going to contact
I'll
Dorothy.
Watch my second episode and I'm going to keep my title.
I haven't called Dorothy in a while, but I'm going to call Dorothy and I'm going to try to have her redo the intro.
You know what, though? I have a problem. It is not the greatest sci-fi show ever made. I don't think it's the greatest
You've only seen one episode.
Sci-fi show ever made.
What is your greatest sci-fi show ever made? It's subjective to each person.
It is. So
what is yours?
I think I can still keep because I have been a longtime sci-fi fan since I was really little. I've been a Star Trek fan. and a Star Wars fan.
You don't get a vote here. So
I do.
No, you don't. Your response is, what is the greatest sci-fi show? Because you're now taking this into dispute. So what is your favorite sci-fi show?
Farscape.
All right.
Farscape.
I have not
Definitely.
seen that series. At least I've seen the first episode, and I do have the DVD sets. I've not watched it yet, but I can watch one episode of Farscape between now and next week.
I can watch the next episode of
Expanse.
Expanse.
All right, Carolyn,
Seriously.
the gauntlet's been thrown.
Whatever.
All right.
I will do my best. I will put it there. I will do my best.
Excuses. Jody, we're trying.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing more excuses.
All right. We also have another email. It's from Clyde. Clyde says, so I just finished watching the series again, and I'm more and more convinced James McPherson must have used Magellan's astrolabe. His personality really does have a shift. Paracelsus is a very interesting villain, evil, but interesting. Too bad
True.
we didn't get any more historical references to him being a caretaker of Warehouse 9. It's
I know.
crazy that this is a little spoilerly here, but it's crazy that a warehouse, even though organic, would rather choose a past caretaker than the current one. And even then, why didn't Warehouse 9, in this case, remove him as caretaker, or did they even have an option at that time? Final
That's
thoughts?
a good question.
I want a new warehouse series that's based on one of the first 5 warehouses or on the Regents. It would be an interesting change. For example, Warehouse 9 had the
Regents
purple
be cool.
goo bird to deal with artifacts.
That would be cool.
Yeah. It's sad that the series would have went in so many different directions for a season 6 and 7. They were really starting to get into a good groove and expanding storylines so much in seasons 4 and 5. Thank you for reviewing the series, even though you guys have a lot on your plates. Have a great day. Clyde.
Oh, wait, see, Clyde understands. We have a lot on our plates.
I think it'd be great to see how the regents became regents. How did
I would
Hassan
love
become top? How did they pick Mrs. F?
Yeah. How did the regents pick Mrs. F? How does a regent become a regent? And what exactly is their job? I would like to follow a day
We
in
saw
their
a little
life.
bit of that with Steve's mom. With Pete's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
little
we've
bit.
seen the origins of 2 warehouse regents. There was Pete's
Who?
mom, and then there was the reporter. Was she a reporter? I think she was
Yeah.
a reporter.
I think that was a start of one. I don't know if it finished with her becoming an actual regent, but
No, she was she's a regent. She's just busy doing.
they had the discussion. But I don't
She's
know
a
if she
regent.
accepted the job.
My headcanon is she's a regent. She went on
In
to
my
do other
head
things.
canon.
She went on to do other things. So
But very good thoughts, Clyde. I like your thoughts. I would love to have the warehouse 1 through 5. That would be really cool to see how they did snag bagging and tagging in the ancient
I know.
times.
We talked about it once. 1 was Mesopotamia, 2 was Egypt. I don't remember what the other ones were.
Yeah, but it'd be really cool to see that and that history and stuff. That would be very cool. I would have loved to have done that. And I agree. Why didn't the warehouse why didn't they remove him as a caretaker? Did they not have the ribbon at that point in time? Maybe they didn't have the ribbon and they didn't have a way. So the only way but if question, if he knew, because he created the bronzer, if he knew how to not become bronzed, why didn't he do it then? How did he get bronzed? Why didn't he not become bronzed and take the stuff that he took in this
Maybe he didn't get a
episode?
chance to take it. He didn't get a chance to take it because they surprised him because his brother turned him in.
Okay, I'll go with that. But still, I mean, he
Well-
created it. So
Going back to Clyde, I would like to see it. You know what? When I think of Warehouse 1, have you all ever seen the movie National Treasure?
yes.
Yeah.
With Nicolas Cage? Like at the very end when he puts the fire down to the oil and it just keeps going and going and
Yeah.
going. That's how I imagine Warehouse 1.
Yep. That's
Because
how
it
I
would have
imagine
been
it
during
too.
Alexander the Great time.
I was
Yeah.
just going to say, I know what the theme song for that warehouse series would be.
Mm?
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh, jeez.
dun, 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 dun,
Was that the
dun,
18?
dun, dun. That's Indiana
could be,
Jones.
That
Indiana
could be
Jones.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's already copyrighted, but yeah.
Another good series
Dun, dun, dun.
or good movie in that realm is Sanford and Sons. Another good series or movie would be Sahara.
Mm-hmm.
So long since I've seen that.
I know. It's kind of
I
fun.
don't know. It'd be kind of cool if we had a mixture of like Stargate and then they go through the gate and then they're in like warehouse. Wouldn't it be cool if Warehouse 13 and Stargate collided somehow?
I could definitely see them combined. Yeah,
that would be a cool crossover
because the Stargate tech was never completely fully.
There's got to be a gate in some warehouse.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
There's got to be one.
That's got to be an artifact.
I don't know.
We've already seen it when they go back and forth in the season 3 finale when they're going back and forth. Yeah,
that wall with the chess board that's kind of lethal.
Yep.
It's amazing me how y'all could do that. You're like, oh yeah, with the wall. How long has it been since you've seen Stargate episode 3, season 3? Because I've watched all of them too.
This was Warehouse, not Stargate.
We're talking about the warehouse.
We're talking about Warehouse.
Oh.
Remember, this is where they said, we're burying in wells. No, wells and burying.
Oh, okay. I'm like stuck over here in Stargate. I'm like, I don't remember what the end of Stargate episode.
All I have to say is burying in wells, and you'll remember.
And I'm there.
And you're there.
Wells, and Mike is in the see-through black shirt.
No, wells and burying.
I've been talking a lot about Stargate to different people, and let's see, what can I remember? Indeed. And the ships, the F303 or the X303 and the BC304s, which were the ships, Thor, buddy, right? Which is the Prometheus and the Odyssey and the Daedalus and the Hammond and the Odyssey, those type of ships. And there was another quote. Well, Thor, buddy, and Indeed were the quotes that were laid out there. So yeah, people still talk about it outside of us.
Stargate's an amazing show. I found that when I was pregnant with Michaela, and I remember back then. We talked about this before. Remember back then when box sets cost like $50 at Best Buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I found all 10 seasons for $150.
Yeah, that was the deal.
That's the price of 3, right? So, and I went through all of them while I was pregnant. Remember getting so sleepy. I'd come home from work and I'd sit down and, but then I'd wake back up and finish watching them. And I went through the entire season by the time I had her.
So, not to interrupt, but we do have one last email. It's from Robin. We just got it today. And Robin asked, what's that?
I didn't see that come through.
Yeah. Robin asked us a very short question. How can I find season 1, episodes 1? And I looked in the Just Watch app again, just to make sure for season 1. And the only place that you can see it for free, if you have a Prime subscription, is Amazon here in the United States. So I don't know what country you're in, Robin, but here in the United States, the only place that you can see it for free is Amazon. If you have a Prime subscription on Amazon. You can also buy seasons and episodes on Amazon Prime, Apple TV Plus, and a new app, which used to be called Vudu. It's now called Fandango at Home. It's the same company that does the Fandango seats for movie theaters. They also bought the Vudu streaming app, so they do Vudu.
Honestly, I think it's cheaper to buy the DVD now.
Well, it depends on what country she's in, too.
True. In America, if you're here in America, I think it's cheaper to buy the entire season on DVD than to pay for a brand new subscription for Amazon if you don't already have it.
But you can also buy the whole season digitally on those 3 things. That's what I was saying.
What did I say?
You said DVDs.
DVDs.
Oh.
Yeah. Because we were just talking about box sets, so that's where your brain was.
And you can also buy them on DVD. But if you want to stream them somewhere, those are the places you can stream.
Yes.
So I did check for you, Robin. Unfortunately, I can only check here in the United States. I don't know where you're from. If you tell us what country or what region you're in, we can do some little research or ask other listeners of where we can find it. So there you go.
Yeah. As long as you have Amazon Prime in the US, it's free.
And I was looking through my spaghetti box sets. I was looking through mine the other day. I don't have the first season of Xena. I'm like, why don't I have the first season of Xena?
I don't know.
Did I have it before? Did I loan it out to somebody? Where does that go? I don't, it's been so many years.
All mine are up there.
1996. Of Xena?
Yep.
I don't have any.
Yeah, I bought them because this is way back more than 10 years ago when we were doing Voice of Defiance. You and Sean were like, yeah, Xena is the best thing ever. I'm like, okay, well, I'll start watching it. I did. I watched like half of the first season, and then I just got overtaken by other things.
It's, if I remember correctly, it's very much like a warehouse where it's not, okay, well, what's happening here? And then season 2 comes, you're like, okay, this gets better. But it's always campy. It's never not campy.
Oh, yeah. It's campy
I
as
would
hell, but
imagine
it's
much
good.
like Buffy, right? Buffy came out about the same time. Buffy was campy, right? I
Mhm.
never watched
Stargate's campy too.
Yeah, Stargate can be campy, yes.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons
But
I like
Xena
it.
campy? I don't think so. And I love Xena. Don't get
Farscape
me
could
wrong.
be kind of campy, too.
Farscape is a little bit campy. So
I would imagine it would have to be with all the Muppets.
Yeah, but you really love
and
them.
Moya.
Rigel is like an amazing character.
That's another one. The ship is alive, just like Warehouse. Moya was alive.
Yes, Moya is alive. Mm-hmm. With the pilot. Mm-hmm. And Chiana.
And there was
Chiana, yeah.
the guy that played what's his name on Xena. He went on to do a sci-fi show, and I want to say Andromeda. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah, Kevin Sorbo.
Hercules. He was Hercules.
Xena is the first place I saw Carl Urban.
Yep. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of different actors in different places. I was watching Tootsie on the VCR today before it exploded on me.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Tootsie.
And
Wow.
I forgot Bill Murray was the main character in that.
Oh,
I thought it was
Speaking
Dustin
of-
Hoffman.
speaking of lots of people,
It is Dustin Hoffman, first of all, but Bill Murray is also in it.
speaking of lots of people, when I came home from work the other day, my parents were watching Red Dawn.
The original? There's been like 3 of them.
The one with Patrick Swayze in it.
Swayze.
Okay, the original. So they
Yeah.
did a remake here recently, and then there was also a Australian version.
Yeah, no, this was the one with Patrick Swayze in it and all the other people in it that I was like, oh, hey, holy crap, there was a lot of people in
Aaron
that.
Gray is in it. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of people in there. Yeah.
There's a lot of people in that one. I didn't realize how much there were in that one.
Okay, talking about peoples, Shannon, you get to choose. I will say there is a right and a wrong answer here, but I'm not going to give you any more hints than that. You can choose the episode descriptions for next time. We're talking about Warehouse 13, Season 5, Episode 1, Endless Terror. And the 3 descriptions I have are tv.guide.com, Amazon Prime Video, and IMDb.
I think I'm going to choose the one that you say is the better.
So you're just going to go with me?
Yes.
All right. You're going to hate
Now-
it, but here we go. tvguide.com. Picking up where the previous season ended, Claudia is trapped in the warehouse with Paracelsus, and they battle for control of the warehouse. Pete, Myka, Jinx, and Artie try to find a way to get in. Myka finds a way, but they find Claudia in under Paracelsus' control. They try to release her from his control, but as they do that, the warehouse changes. Artie thinks Paracelsus went back in time and changed history. So they need to find out when he went back and what he did. Claudia does that. While Artie tries to find a way to go back in time, Claudia determines he went back to Warehouse 9 and killed the regents. From that moment, there were no longer any regents, so he ran the warehouse as he wanted. Pete and Myka go back. Artie tries to keep Paracelsus in the present from finding out what they are doing. Artie's captured and discovers that some of his friends, Vanessa Calder and Hugo Miller, are working for him. I'm assuming that's Paracelsus. Pete and Myka arrive and work with Warehouse 9 agent Lisa Da Vinci. Let me say that again. Lisa Da Vinci. To stop Paracelsus.
Well, that
was a pretty good description. Was that you said that? Okay, you're not going to like it. Well, what was that? How was that a bad one?
Because you don't like tvguide.com's descriptions.
Normally not, but that was a pretty good one.
That's why I chose it. Yes. The IMDb
Chose
description
wisely.
is like 10 words, and the Amazon Prime Video description is like another 10 words. So this one was
See, I'm
definitely
glad
the
I
best.
did. I'm glad I went with choosing you. You were my choice. See, you took care of
You
me.
chose wisely.
Yeah.
All right. If anybody wants to get a hold of us, our email address is warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. That's warehouse, the numbers 13fancast@gmail.com. We are not going to wait 280 days for our next episode. As a matter of fact, I haven't ran this by my teammates here, my co-hosts, but I think we're going to do one next week, right?
Yep.
As far as I know.
All right. So 7 days after this one comes out, we'll have our conclusion to the big cliffhanger of Warehouse 13 Season 4 into Season 5.
We got it.
All right. Until next time, I'm the Janitor SP.
This is Sci-Fi Girl. Come find me.
This is Ocean 363. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Come talk to me about Warehouse.
Thanks for joining us for an episode of the Artie's Attic Warehouse 13 Fancast. You can find all our episodes at warehouse13fancast.com. If you'd like to contact us, you can hit us up on our email at warehouse13fancast@gmail.com. We are a part of the Lone Wolf Podcast Network. You can hear more of this cast and other shows like it by checking out lonewolfpodcasts.com. The intro music is Sci-Fi Hybrid Intro by Soundmake, and the outro music is Science Fiction by Tunes to Go. Both were purchased on pond5.com.
Anywho. Yes, I do have a job for now. We'll see how
What'd
long
you
that
show him?
passes.
I was getting it more in the frame. It wasn't in the frame.
What is
The
that?
Rocinante.
What is that?
It's the Expanse.
You obviously haven't
you
watched any more.
The Expanse?
No.
It's the ship from the Expanse.
Kind of cool. Yeah, look,